Good morning, quilt people and seekers of the world. How you doing today? I'm doing pretty great. Excited to be here. Excited about today's topic, finding your superpower. Oh, yay! What is it? Where is it? Right? And to clarify what that means exactly, what that's not is finding your spirit gift. Spirit gift and superpowers are two different things. Spirit gift is why you go to shaman school, right? Spirit gift is the thing that is innate to you that is not the same in others, right? It's individually unique, a skill or talent that's specific to you and you only. But a superpower is something we all share. Superpower is something we can all leverage. Superpower is understanding, first and foremost, where is power? Once we understand where is power, things shift. Normally, in the Western world, power is seen as strength and might. It is seen as being able to defeat an enemy. It is being seen as being able to be stronger, faster, quicker, smarter, whatever, right? It lives in duality. It has to have an opponent, right? But the superpower and where power lives is in none of those places. It took me a long time to really not only understand it, but to internalize the lesson. Power is not being able to be stronger than your opponent. Power is being able to manifest everything that you seek and bend the entire matrix to your will. Very different approach. That's real power. That's real power to know that you're in control of manifesting the entire show, and that if something is showing up in your life that you do not like, you know what to do with it. You know how to alchemize it into something more beneficial for you. Power lives in detaching from the rest of the world. The rest of the world does not matter to you. The rest of the world should carry no weight in your mind. The rest of the world should not live in your mind. There's no goodness there for you if you're seeking fulfillment and wholeness in others, outside of you, right? Anything we give our power to becomes a false god. And we're not here to worship false gods. We're here to internalize and understand our own power. It kind of goes like this. When you understand that you are essentially creating, like manifesting everything that you're seeing, right? The power no longer lies outside of your skull. You're no longer trying to fix and fight and arrange and do this all the other, because you understand that the world is crazy and the world always will be crazy. There's nothing you can do about that except step out of the crazy. And I feel like this lesson, above all else, is going to be worth more, have more value as things potentially in the United States of America stand to get a little more crazy. Step out. You don't have to involve yourself in anything outside of yourself. In fact, I highly recommend that you don't involve yourself in justice causes, that you don't participate in the crazy. Everybody practically on Earth is functioning with an ego of seeing everything as good and bad and right and wrong. All of our religions live in that duality of us versus them. Look at the Middle East. If religions taught love, would the Middle East look the way it does? No. Because religions don't teach love. They teach righteousness, which is incompatible with peace. When you're functioning from a place of righteousness, of being right, of having your own personal agenda that you seek to inflict on the rest of the world, no. All of that is insanity and weakness. But once you understand the difference between the egoic mind and the mind of spirit, it becomes really clear. Because you see everybody on the news trying to fix and fight and adjust and be dissatisfied and point out what's wrong and what could be better, right? And it's just all ego. People don't even understand that they are their ego through and through. They have never disassociated from judgment. They only operate from that place. They only operate with judgment. They have never had the experience of abandoning thinking to enter presence. Enter presence. Be in the room where you are. Because if your problem isn't in the room, you don't have a problem. You have an illusion. An illusion, the unreal, is what we're fighting against. We're fighting, right? Even I'm doing it. Right? Because it ultimately can't be fighting. It has to be letting go, releasing, not participating in it, and stepping out. Ultimately, stepping out of the chaos, stepping out of the crazy to protect yourself, right, is the solution. We will never have peace until we are peaceful. Are you being peaceful? Am I being peaceful? How often in here have I not been peaceful? And it's just the way that you look at things, right? Even that last video, I was like, break the back of white supremacy, right? Is that not filled with fix and fight? It is. And while that ultimately might be kind of what's written on my North Star, we don't get there by attacking white supremacy. We get there by educating and loving the minds who are involved in white supremacy and showing them that there's nothing to be afraid of. Xenophobia is the vibe of white supremacy. You just got to show the minds who are involved in that terror that it's unnecessary, that in fact, the war is over. Have they ever been given a space to recognize that the war is over? Have they ever been taught that the war doesn't live out in the world, the war lives inside themselves? But people don't think they have that level of personal power. They don't think that they have the ability to stand in peace and love and be protected all the time. And yet there's no greater defense than joy and love. Because if you're not bringing the joy and love to the conversation, you're just trying to wash dirt with dirt. That doesn't get us anywhere. And we need to stop attacking our enemies and start loving them as humans. And start loving them as fellow Americans or world citizens. We need to model for the unevolved a better way. And that's not fixing, that's not fighting, that's not judgment. Love is defined as the absence of judgment. Evil is defined as the absence of empathy. Have empathy. Bring love to the table in all things, in all conversations. Because if you're not bringing it, who is? If you're in a conversation or a situation that is loveless, you got to bring the love. You got to bring the hope. You got to bring the direction headed in the right direction, even with those who are saying you shouldn't exist. That's why I think a lot of my spirit teachers have been Black women throughout history. I mean, they have been put through it. right? Same with a lot of gay men. We have been put through it. Privilege is defined as the absence of obstacles. And I see these people who are like, oh yeah, it's fine, No. Casually participating in that which is openly homophobic or bigoted is never okay. And it's just amazing to me. But, again, my superpower lives in here, in seeing those minds who are operating with that thought construct and going, I remember when I was back there. I remember when I was trying to be right instead of happy. I remember when my mind was constantly filled with that which I saw as unacceptable. I mean, go back and watch my old videos, right? Like, for several years, I was just in here complaining about the Christians. Remember that? So fun. Right? Was I having fun? Not really. Were you having fun? Probably not, unless you were enjoying the freak show. Right? And I knew that I had healing to do around that subject. I knew that, the messaging that I received as a young person around that topic, while not okay, needed to be healed. And the only one who was going to heal it for me was me. And so it's been a constant effort kind of to continually be mindful, that's maybe a better way of saying it, to continually to be mindful of that which is actually really not serving me, right? That which is painful. The good news about all this work is that all you have to do in order to heal is follow the joy, right? Follow what makes you happy. And leave behind that which doesn't bring you joy, right? It's like that organizing Asian woman. Like, does it spark joy, right? Do the same thing with your thought constructs, your mind, right? Things you're thinking about. If you have a thought that you're not enjoying that does not spark joy, change the channel, right? That is all you need in order to change the entire world, or at least your experience of the entire world. Throughout history, there has always been, that which is loving and that which is not. And it will always be that way. And there's nothing you can do about that because, again, it's just consciousness trying to figure itself out. It will always be crazy. So the only decision to make is, do you want to participate in the crazy, knowing that you can't do so without being crazy? You can't step into the crazy arena with sanity, right? And there's no point in languaging peace and love to those that are being insane. They got to figure that out on their own. And the best thing that we can do is just model for them that which is a better, lighter, more fun option. Because they don't know. They don't know they don't have to be afraid of the evolution of mankind and all of us, experiencing new things in new ways like gender. They don't know that they don't have to be afraid of that. That's very frightening to them because their entire understanding of definitions around humankind has changed. Don't lack empathy for those people. Help them, educate them, be loving to them. You might be the only person who's doing so. So it becomes a real Gandhi approach, knowing that you can't fix or fight others, that you can only fight yourself, right? And modeling for people what that looks like, of having that level of self-respect, of having that level of personal power, of having that level of empathy, mostly for yourself, but certainly for others. Right? The kindness that you give to yourself, you will eventually bestow on others. The love that you give yourself, you will eventually bestow on others. But it's got to start there. It's got to start in a thing I found in indigenous circles, which is called self-honor. Not something I see a lot of in the Western world. We're not taught it. I certainly wasn't. where your superpower lies. In the ability to not attach to the crazy, to merely observe the crazy and go, that's nice, but that really has nothing to do with me. Especially the unreal, especially illusion, especially anything that is a thought construct, which is anything having to do with an imagined past or an imagined future. Anything that's not languaged in the current conscious present moment is illusion. So knowing that the solution for yourself lives within yourself, and that anything you give power to that lives outside of you, including a character of a god, a character of a deity, a character of an entity of any kind that is not you, is a false god. It's ultimately why I dropped shamanism. And I know while I certainly enjoy the traditions and I enjoy the practice and I enjoy some of the outline for connecting to self and higher thinking, it ultimately becomes, when you get to the end of the road of shamanism, is like any god. It becomes something that you take your personal power away from yourself to put on another entity, god, or being. It becomes a false god. It becomes a trap door of understanding that you feel like you need to go through in order to get to God. You don't. You don't need the middleman. You can go direct. And all of the shamanism and all of the spirit animals and all of the power stuff and all of the entities and all of the beings are a manifestation of the mind in order for you to try and get to God. But it's unnecessary. You can go direct. Cut out the middleman. Anything, anyone that you put power outside of yourself zaps your power. It pulls the power from you. It makes you weak. Stop having false gods. You don't need that. You are God. You are a little piece of God. You don't need a trapdoor of understanding in order to try and get to God. Connect direct. Connect to source. Connect to where your power lies, which is not out there, which will never be out there. Your power lives in here. Again, that little red panda in Kung Fu Panda. What's he doing? Well, first of all, he lives up on the top of the mountain, doesn't he? He doesn't live in society. He has escaped society because he understands that chaos, that noise, the caterwauling, all of the above, the screaming, the crying, the justice, the this, the that, the other, serves no one. So he goes up on his mountain to escape the crazy, to individuate fully and not be a part of the crazy, to rather associate with your own personal power. And that's the only thing you're connecting to. Because when you're there, it opens the door to jailbreaking the matrix, to bending it all to your will, because you understand your own personal power to manifest instantly that which you seek. There's no trapdoors of understanding. There's no being or entity that you're creating in your mind in order to go and do a certain thing, when you can go and do that certain thing yourself. Step out. Step out of the crazy. Go live on your mountaintop. All the rest, especially justice, especially doing things right, especially wanting to change things, fix things for the better. No. You can't participate in that without it existing with a kernel of complaint. And complaint is the most damaging, destructive force on earth. It all starts there. That's how wars are started. In the kernel of complaint. You don't need that. You can't live a higher conscious life while operating with the ego. You have to evolve past seeing things as good and bad and right and wrong, and just exist and just observe and just bless it all, knowing there is only perfection. There is only perfection. If you don't understand how that is in this crazy, crazy world, go back and watch that video I did on that. It was really a pivotal moment for me in understanding that anything outside of God is not possible. So there is only perfection. I can't do anything that's less than perfect. Neither can you. Because you are the God, essentially, of your experience, your life, of everything that you're manifesting, everything that you're seeing. Right? And you gotta get to the point where you're pulling yourself out of the ick, out of the density, out of the grossness. You have to abandon cheap words. You have to abandon seeing things as good and bad and right and wrong. You have to abandon complaint, and you have to abandon all else and all others. Your superpower lives in you. It's not out there. Stop seeking wholeness or answers outside of you. You have everything that you need. You absolutely have everything that you need. You don't need answers from others. You know, and you know that you know, and you know what it feels like when you know. Learn to trust that. It's one of the greatest lessons I got from writing these books, like me really chasing the voice of inkling and knowing that that voice of inkling is truth for me. I don't need anybody else telling me what's true for me. I know what it is because of how it lives in me. I can feel when it's true for me. I can feel when it lives in power. I can feel when I have the power, to bless myself, to clean myself, to hold myself in a space of love and holiness, that I can do all of that for myself and I don't need anybody, no entity, no God, no nothing. I can go direct to source and I can clean myself. I can clean my energy field. I can always imbue my way with all sorts of power and light and love because it's not up to anybody else. It's just up to me. And it's granted on my own say-so. It's granted upon me saying, yep, that's my future. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go be a best-selling author. I'm going to go be a best-selling author whose books easily get turned into films that help elevate the consciousness of man. That's my story. And I remember it forward in the same way that I remember the past. And that, my friends, is true manifestation. Anyways, I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope that you got something out of that. And I will see you next time. All right, bye.